Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you I'm not reacting to this video because of a certain team that did a whole lot of diving today, even though they also did a lot of diving against that said team, lost to this said team in this video. But today we're going to be reacting to something from Copa90. There is nothing soft about Osasuna. Love us another Copa90 documentary. Like I said, we're not watching it because of that game whatsoever.
Right, if we're going to use that biblical cliche, David and Goliath, Madrid against Osasuna, this isn't David against Goliath. This is David against Goliath. All of Goliath's mates who are really hard and they're armed. Oh, and by the way, David's been forced to play with his hands tied behind his back. That's the difference between these two teams.
European football is still broken, as the same teams keep winning the same trophies again and again and again.
The title.
Wait, when was this video posted? This was posted 2 years ago. Okay, but yeah, completely fair.
Is returning to Munich for the 11th consecutive season.
Which means all we're
11th
talking
is
about
crazy.
are the same few clubs. But to me, football's always been about learning of new people and places. So once again, I went on a journey to find new, untold stories of different clubs with a rare chance at glory. And more importantly, a culture, a people, and a way of life whose story needs to be told.
Because this place is special.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one.
Once in a lifetime.
This is gonna be a good one. They're all good, but I can tell this is gonna be a really good one. Osasuna.
As the 2023 Copa del Rey reached its semi-final stage, the remaining 4 clubs already shared an incredible 73 Copas between them.
Jesus.
Still standing was Barcelona, winners 31 times with 42 appearances in the final, as well as Athletic Club Bilbao, having won the tournament 23 times from 39 appearances in the final. Of course, Real Madrid was still in it, having already won 19 Copa del Reys with 39 appearances in the final.
Watch
and
me
lastly,
Atlantic.
there was Osasuna,
Oh, never mind.
who in their 103-year history had only ever made one final, which they lost.
Jeez.
But for what they may lack in success on the pitch, Osasuna more than make up for it, as a club with one of the most fascinating identities in European football.
Okay. This is so fascinating.
It's about the people. Forget about what's happening on the pitch. It's about the people.
A club who've built a reputation as a place that achieves things the right way.
It's a unique and really single club.
There's a kind of an admiration for the way that Osasuna do things.
Loyalty to the coach, reaching success without using a lot of money, and humble resources.
A club who've built a reputation as a place for one of the best atmospheres in La Liga.
And a game here is without doubt one of the best experiences in Spanish football, because this place makes a huge amount of noise.
Yep.
Because these fans are incredibly loyal. Because this place is brilliant. That's why.
But
The
perhaps
stadium's
most
nice
uniquely,
too.
Club Atletico Osasuna is a
Osasuna.
club who don't just represent a neighborhood, don't just represent a city, but is the only professional club of the autonomous Spanish state of Navarre, represent an entire region.
Ooh.
And what a unique region it is.
People should
Yeah, it's
know
the
about
first
the
time we've
region of
heard of
Navarre
that.
because it's really special. There's nowhere else like it.
Now, to
Navarre.
understand what makes Navarre so special, well, there's a lot to go through, but first and foremost, you need to know one thing. It all comes back to the land.
Yo creo que lo que nos diferencia a nosotros de, por ejemplo, de otras de la península ibérica es nuestro arraigo a la tierra.
They love their land. So if you start with land, they really have an umbilical cord with their land.
When they talk
Okay.
about someone being local, they'll often say de la tierra. He's
De la
of the
tierra.
land. The actual land is the embodiment or the starting point of who they consider themselves to be.
De la
So that's
tierra.
every region, or are other regions less dependent on their land?
Well, I mean, if you go to the coast, obviously, people live from the sea, but in Navarre we don't have any coast.
Navarre is a landlocked region.
So we have land.
Okay.
You're talking about labourers who own their part of land. And
Wait, I actually want to see this on a map now. Wow, this place is beautiful. Oh, I'm an architecture lover, bro. Outside of all the content stuff that I do, I wanted to be an architect growing up. And there's something about old world looking architecture that just does something to my soul, man. Okay, so it's right on the border of France. And yeah, okay, they don't have any access to the sea technically. They're very close to it, but they don't have direct access to it. Okay, so right here. Okay. Makes sense. Gotcha.
toil their land and develop their produce.
Oh yeah, they are so proud what comes out from the land. They produce like artichokes, berries.
The type of berry is a slow berry. They do a drink, it's called pacharan.
El fruto,
Pacharan.
la andrina, sale en el campo y así. Y la gente coge y con anís lo macera y se hace el licor.
Pacharan, it's like Navarre in a bottle.
It's an identity drink from Navarre.
Eso es una costumbre nuestra.
That sounds delicious.
Strong. Come on.
It's
like medicine.
Jarabe para todos.
like cough syrup.
Wow.
And of course, the big one, asparagus, but white asparagus.
White
It's so big
asparagus?
Here that there is even a fellowship of asparagus in Navarra.
With a lot of land,
What?
naturally comes an appreciation for work.
One of the most important values here is that you hard graft.
I think there is that idea of reap what you sow, that you do the work and you get the reward.
It doesn't matter what your education is, your money is, the colour of your skin is. If you hard graft and you sweat alongside people, then you are accepted.
That
And
makes
with a lot of
sense.
hard work comes the importance of integrity.
Honour, your personal honour, is really, really big.
I like this
That's
place.
part of what makes this part of the country the way it is.
Is their word of honour. It's called the Euskaldun Itza.
And I think
Euskaldun
fundamentally the key
Itza.
word is that one.
Really, really works. If somebody extends their handshake and just says, we'll do it, they do it.
And so naturally, wherever you find a culture of your word and hard work, you find a culture of hard people.
Makes sense, yeah.
La gente de aquí es muy fuerte. No parece, pero es muy fuerte.
We are fighters, so we like to fight.
Mi primer maestro, y él era andaluz, del sur de España.
Yep,
Y él
yep.
me decía que él no había encontrado nunca, porque él había dado clases en París y en otros lugares, y me dijo que nunca había encontrado gente tan fuerte de golpear.
And fighting is what they've been doing here all their history.
The people from Navarre defeated Charlemagne.
Really?
Big conquerors. He conquered like half of Europe.
This kingdom fought the Moors, the Catholics, the Romans. This place fought everywhere.
Yeah, and the Vikings too.
A rich, deep history
The Vikings.
that goes way back, long before the concept of Spain.
I actually need to go do like a historical like read on this particular region, I guess. Like I do little deep dives randomly here and there into like medieval history, Roman history, Greek history, like all this other stuff here and there. But I do it in like I like it's broken up a little bit in which I learn certain things sometimes. I think what I'm going to start doing after we learn about these different regions and stuff, maybe we can start watching some stuff about like the histories of some of these places or whatever. But I find learning this stuff so fascinating.
Navarra tiene una
Navarra.
historia, es el reino de Navarra.
O sea, no era España, era un reino propio con su rey. In the kingdom, it was the Basque country, also Aragon.
Aragon.
All the south of France, you know, if you go to...
That was part of Navarra?
Yeah, but part of Navarra.
All of which is embodied in one particular symbol of which all Navarrans adore.
The change of Navarra is probably the most symbolic element from the entire region.
Chains are really important because it's the symbol of Navarre. It's what represents Navarre.
Now, the chain's significance is said to come from a legendary battle in 1212, when the King of Navarre headed south to defeat the warlord Miramamolim, who'd surrounded himself with chained slaves as protection.
He broke the chains, he defeated Miramamolim, he freed the slaves, and he took the chains and he used them as the new symbol of Navarre.
And whilst like any historic tale, the origins of the story are questioned,
Dicen que por eso viene lo del escudo, pero hay contraindicación.
the chains are now synonymous with being Navarran.
Navarra tiene cadenas por adentro y por afuera. Las del escudo son nuestras, las de fuera son impuestas.
Oh, that's
And so
tough,
wherever you are
dude.
in Navarra, look around and you'll see the chains.
Like Warhammer, you see
spot the
skulls
chains
everywhere.
Everywhere. You find them on rings, necklaces, shirts, flags, and tattoos, obviously. You can spot them also on the street signs, in the logo of the city council, and on the crest of Club Atlético Osasuna as well.
But perhaps what makes Navarra most unique is how such a small region feels so different depending where you are in the state.
Yeah.
You have
I
to
noticed that the
differentiate
visuals are different.
Navarra from the north and Navarra from the south. Completely two worlds, two different worlds, two different universes.
You see, despite being only an hour and a half drive from each other, the north and south of this region are nothing alike.
You have this duality, you know, in Navarre. It's all the time that you have two Navarres in the same land.
They're nothing alike when it comes to the weather.
You have also two climates. You have the Atlantic climate, like we are now in the Atlantic climate, you can see everything's green.
That you're
Yep,
talking
yep.
about the rainy, wet, lush north.
And then if you go to the south, it's dry, hot, and so dusty.
They're nothing alike when it comes to the geography.
The south and the north
Oh
are
my
totally different landscapes.
God.
In Navarre, we have these two areas, right? We have the mountain one, the flatland one. We have the green area, you have the yellow area.
Because in the north, you can find Selva di Irati, the second largest forest in the entire Europe. Magical, it's like the Lord of the Rings. You can even spot hobbies there. Then if you go to the south, you find Las Bardenas Reales is the only
Bardenas
desert
Reales.
in Europe. It's landscapes from the moon, not part of this world. You feel like in a Star Wars movie.
It's like
That's actually a good point. Now that I think about it, I never thought about Europe actually lacking a lot of deserts. I will say that's one of the fun things about the United States. We have like 8 different climates here. You got your desert area, your upper northern regions where it's always cold, your southern regions where it's always hot, your east coast regions where you get all this wet rain, water because you're right on the Atlantic. Then you got the west coast is right on the Pacific. All these little different like biomes and stuff. This is so cool, dude.
Arizona, the land of the cowboys.
Probably Clint Eastwood lives there. Those extremes touching in one point in such a small distance, it's Navarra 100%.
And most importantly, they're nothing alike when it comes to who the people consider themselves to be. You see, whilst whether in the north or the south, everyone is proudly Navarran.
Well, good.
In the south of Navarra, they're also very proud to be Spanish.
Look at that.
Yeah, probably
that
the
castle.
stereotype of Spain, you can find it in Navarra in the south.
Osasuna, Navarra, España.
But head up to the north of the region, just over the Pyrenees, and it's very different.
People here, if you ask them where they're from, they will say Navarra. They're very proud of being from Navarra. But then they will also say they feel they live in Euskal Herria, the Basque country.
Euskal Herria.
This is Orson Welles behind the camera. A camera focused for this program on a fairly out-of-the-way and little-known corner of Europe, the land of the Basques.
The topic of Basque identity, or in their language, Euskera, and what who and where it comes from, is a very complex conversation.
Well, what is a Basque? All we know for sure is what a Basque is not. Besides not being French or Spanish, a Basque is not Mediterranean, Alpine, Magyar, Celtic, Germanic, Semitic, nor Scandinavian. He isn't even there yet. Nobody knows who his ancestors were.
But as an outsider, naturally you've probably heard about it in relation to Navarra's neighbouring state, País Vasco, or the Basque Country in English, home to the world-famous cities of Bilbao and San Sebastian. But for Basque people, their borders go way further than that.
The Basques themselves have their own definition. And that includes, of course, the Basque Country, but it includes the provinces, both in Spain and in France, where Basque is spoken and people live in the Basque culture.
And so with the north of Navarra very much fitting that criteria, it's not only considered to be Basque, but to many it's actually considered the very beginnings and embodiment of Basque culture itself.
The north of Navarra is also more Basque, probably, than even the Basques by themselves.
This is arguably more Basque than any other Basque place.
Yes. Oh, that's definitely true. Culturally, that's definitely true.
This was where all the Basque culture began, you know?
In Navarra?
Yeah. The origin of all the Basque people is here. It's in
not
Navarra.
Bilbao, not San Sebastian, not Biarritz.
This is the origin.
And the people point to history to prove it.
For example, they recently found an object.
And we are talking about the most ancient Basque element ever found.
The oldest representation of the Basque language.
And it was here in Navarra.
It was written on a metal object with the shape of a hand.
A hand from around 3,000 years ago, and it was written in Basque.
This hand says like Zorioneko. Zorioneko means like joyful.
So you ask the children in this school that come from Navarra, do you live in Spain? No, we live in the Basque Country.
And so, alongside their Navarran ways, Northern Navarrans also possess a special Basque relationship with certain things. You'll find their Basqueness in their relationship with mythology.
It's very much a Basque Northern Navarrese thing.
Our mythology is on a heavenly mythology. Our gods, they don't live up in the sky. They come from the earth. They're linked to the land.
Everything comes back to the land.
Yeah.
The Basques believed in nature, and that the gods were in nature.
So this is why the caves, for example, are really, really important. Our main goddess, Mari, she lives inside the caves.
Another one was this wonderful, huge guardian of the woods.
It's the Basahound.
It's the lord of the forest.
Yeah, Basahound looks scary, but you respect the nature if you...
I gotta say, I think this is the coolest one I've ever watched so far. Because we've learned a lot about different cultures and stuff, obviously through football, but I'm a sucker for learning about mythology, the way a country is structured, the way people believe in certain things, you know? I say that as a man who considers himself a Christian. I just find the ideologies and the way people think, the way they believe in things, you know, who am I to say like what is and isn't real, right? I think this kind of stuff, learning this, is what every person should do. I think this is also why I want to visit Europe one day. There's so many different cultures that are just this giant melting pot. US, we have our different mixes of cultures and stuff, but I don't know. I want to experience it in the most real, authentic. You don't see stuff like this here. I don't know, man. This is so damn cool. It's not even funny. Wow. This might be my favorite one of my favorites. Obviously, I love my Once in a Lifetime Argentina, doc that they did. But in terms of like cultural, genuinely learning more about the deep culture, I've never heard of Basque Country. I've never heard of San Sebastian. I just don't know that much about Bilbao, that whole region, anything up there. I've never heard of any of this before. I'm genuinely so fascinated, bro.
It's the Lord of the
This
Forest.
is so cool.
Yeah, Basarhaun looks scary, but you respect the nature. If you respect the land, Basarhaun is going to protect you.
You'll find their Basqueness in their relationship with Symbology.
Yeah, Symbology is very important here. We have Arranobelcha, is the black eagle. It's a symbol of Basque independence. We have the Lauburu.
I read that as Labubu, forgive me.
With 4 heads.
Dicen que son los 4 elementos de la naturaleza, que son la tierra, agua, cielo y fuego.
And finally, we have the Gusquilore, the flower of the sun.
A sunflower on the door, which will ward away the witches, etc., etc.
Oh yeah, Northern Navarre has a famous history with witches.
You'll certainly find their Basqueness in their relationship with their language.
Here live co-officially the 2 languages.
Everything in Spanish and everything in Basque.
Euskarak egiten gaitu herri, Euskal Herria da gure herria.
And people here want to see it in Basque. I mean, obviously you'll see it on the street signs, you'll see a Basque name and you'll see a Spanish name.
Oh, so you've got 2 names for this city?
Yeah.
Pamplona for Spanish,
Iruña for Basque.
The state is Navarre and
Nafarroa in Basque.
Nafarroan euskararekiko dagoen egoera, badakigu nolakoa den eta horregatik nik uste mantendu behar dugula.
Wait, I'm sorry, I kind of missed what you just said right there. So the Spanish name is Navarre, Nafora. I want to hear that again.
Nafarroa.
Eta Nafarroan euskararekiko dagoen egoera, badakigu nolakoa den.
The situation's not good.
Nik uste mantendu behar dugula eta erabili.
And whilst the club seem to maintain a neutral position on the subject of Basque Spanish identity, the reality is, with Osasuna based in Navarre's capital of Pamplona, Iruña, a city considered the very beginnings of northern Navarre, you can't deny the Basque influence. From the flags in and around the stadium,
you won't see Spanish flags in Osasuna, just Navarre flags, Basque flags, and flags of Basque symbology.
To the name of the ultras,
the ultras' name is in Basque, Indargorri, which means the Red Force.
To most notably, the name of the club.
One thing is for sure though, Osasuna is a Basque word.
In Basque, Osasuna means health.
So that tells you something about, if you like, the cultural significance of this club and its sense of self.
Then of course, there's the special relationship Osasuna fans share with La Liga's official Basque clubs, Athletic Bilbao, Real Sociedad and Deportivo Alaves.
There's a sense of connection and of community even across clubs.
Jak euskaldunak garenez, bai, zelaian aurkaria gara, baina zelaitik kanpo ez, azken finean herri berdinakoak gara, lehen aipatuan bezala.
And in fact, as Athletic Bilbao spell their name in English, and Real Sociedad and Deportivo Alaves spell their name in Spanish, Osasuna is actually the only major football club in the world with a Basque term in its name. But it's important to note, that does not mean this club isn't loved by all Navarrans.
Here, there is no another club. If you are Navarrese, born in Navarra, you have to support Osasuna, as simple as that.
Even if you're from the south, which is very different to the north?
Even.
Osasuna es Navarra entera.
¿Por qué te gusta Osasuna?
Porque soy navarro.
¿Te gusta Osasuna?
Mucho, pues soy navarro, digo,
Viene gente 1:30 de viaje para venir y 1:30 para volver, de Tudela, de Cascante. Nosotros somos de Estella.
The thing is that Osasuna unites all the society, you know.
So whether you're Basque or Spanish,
we are from
Osasuna.
We are Osasuna.
And well, when you look at how Osasuna does things, it's no surprise it's been able to bring this very divided region together, as the way the club runs couldn't be more Navarran. Starting, of course, with how they work with what comes from their land.
And if you look at the first team squad at the moment, I think it's 9 players
De aquí.
De aquí, de Navarra, Navarro.
We prefer to fight or to have local players.
Osasuna are bringing lots of players through Tajonar.
Tajonar is the academy for Osasuna, but everybody knows it as the cantera.
This again comes back to, let's go back to the concept that we keep returning to, that idea of the land.
Yep.
You prepare the soil.
Quique Barca, he's from Central Navarra.
You sow the seeds.
Yo Moncayola and Pablo Ibáñez, they are from Southern Navarra.
You water the plants.
Unai and David Garcia, they are from Northern Navarra.
You have done everything to help that process.
And don't forget the local Navarrans that came from Tajonar, who went and conquered Europe.
Azpilicueta, Javi Martinez and Nacho Monreal.
Add to this the club's very Navarran way of playing football.
We want our players just to fight.
We need courage and strength.
Doesn't matter about winning or losing.
Luchando es más importante para ti.
Pues sí. That's what we want to show our kids.
Para mí es más importante porque se nota que tienes un equipo que da todo por esta afición, por el equipo y por esta tierra.
And whilst it may not be tiki-taka or Galactico-esque, Osasuna have their own term for their brand of football.
¿Qué es rasmía?
Rasmía.
Orgullo. Echarle huevos.
I'm sorry.
I suppose you could almost call it a wildness. They're aggressive, they're direct, they want to attack you.
English football. Como es vertical. No prefería tiki-taka o algo diferente?
No.
Tiki-taka, who is that?
Who is
playing
that?
For Athletic, tiki-taka. I don't know who is that guy. He's football Pacharan.
Yeah, it might not be tiki-taka, but you don't want to come here and face it.
And perhaps that's how the club earned its reputation as arguably La Liga's most difficult away day.
Emery compared this place to Stoke in terms of it being a difficult place to go.
It's like if you have to go to the dentist, you know that you are not going to have fun.
You know what's funny? If I'm not mistaken, Osasuna haven't lost a home game in their last few matches, 5 matches in a few weeks, something like that. So that's kind of funny. This is a 3-year-old video now, knowing that Real Madrid had to go to, to play Osasuna. Oh, dude, this is so fucking cool, bro. I need to learn Spanish. I need to learn Spanish and then all of the different dialects of sorts.
You're going there to suffer.
That
You're
idea,
going
you
there to
come
suffer.
here as a visiting team, you think, oh, don't much fancy this. Why? Because it's wet and because it's cold and because the team is aggressive, because they will bomb the ball into your box and then they'll be right up in front of you and they'll fight you for every ball.
But it's not just on the pitch that makes Osasuna such a tough place to visit.
It's about the people, not just the players. It's about the whole thing.
One of your coaches, remember you said it was like punk rock football? They play punk rock really?
Yeah, it's a bit punky. It's a bit in your face. It's just a cultural manifestation of what this place is.
Osasuna is the marriage between football and rock and roll.
Pamplona, Iruña is heavy metal.
The punk music is really big in this area.
And you'll see its influence on Osasuna's fan base.
You're going to see Osasuna fans with punk earrings, punk haircuts, punk fashion, basically the punk lifestyle.
And equally as unique as their fan base is their stadium, El Sadar.
Look up on that part of the stand there. They've got standing areas.
Yeah.
Spanish clubs don't do that.
Entonces es un estadio dentro de lo que es España el más inglés de todos.
I think it feels British because the stands are close to the pitch and quite steep, so no one's a long way away.
Está muy inclinada. Es casi como una pared.
All of which combines to create an equally unique atmosphere.
The part of the country where the footballing culture is noisy and loyal.
Que viene el control de ¿qué es esto? ¿Qué estadio es este?
What stadium is
El
this?
salario pone por los gritos, por animar.
In fact, in 2009, this very fan base in this very stadium created the loudest noise ever recorded in the history of La Liga, a record that still stands today. But perhaps such an atmosphere shouldn't be a surprise in a city that holds one of the world's most famous festivals.
What's that?
San Fermin is probably the most famous festival all around the world.
San Fermines is the most epic culture.
Same level as St. Patrick's, Oktoberfest, and maybe the Carnival of Rio.
The wine.
I've never heard of this.
People.
Somos expertos en montar fiesta.
Extras at throw parties.
Again, I quote Ernest Hemingway, nobody parties better than the Navarres. 100%, yeah.
And never did the Rojillos, as Osasuna fans are known, party harder than in the mid-2000s.
Mid-2000s, that's where they really were doing well.
That's the high point.
Europa, UEFA, éxitos.
It was a beautiful time to be a Rojillo.
Hombre, para un club como es Osasuna, que llegue a esos puestos.
Amazing, an amazing experience.
This is a team that really is, at that point, properly competing.
The golden years, yes.
¿Cuál años?
De 2004.
I remember them winning at the Bernabeu, beating the Galacticos.
Yeah, we won several times to Real Madrid, to Barcelona.
2005.
In 2005 they reached the Copa del Rey final.
2006.
In 2006 they finished fourth, which is Champions League qualification.
2007.
Following year they get to the semi-final of the UEFA Cup.
And whilst Osasuna never actually won anything during this time, the club became known as a force on and off the pitch.
Yeah, pride. Their
their
pride was
legendary club motto.
Osasuna nunca se rinde.
They weren't
Osasuna
afraid of anyone.
nunca. Wait, how do you say that?
Legendary club motto.
Osasuna nunca se rinde.
Osasuna. Ah, man, I can't speak Spanish. No,
They weren't
I gotta get that
anyone.
right.
I just remember the energy.
For 3 or 4 years they really, I think, did justice to that idea that we don't back down against anyone.
I like that. I respect that.
Yeah. El Bayer Leverkusen.
Y le ganamos 4-1.
We are living a dream. And after, Sabadell. Boom.
You see, whilst Rojillos widely celebrated this golden age, a very different era was around the corner.
Well, you have a huge amount of problems.
It was a bad time for Osasuna.
You have financial problems.
Representantes, contratos, vivir por encima de tus posibilidades.
Él le debía mucho dinero al gobierno de Navarra, el IVA, impuestos.
And then you have legal problems.
Seems to be a problem often.
La
Corruption.
directiva había robado mucho dinero y casi arruina.
Cuando hay dinero, la gente se arrima.
Prácticamente estaba todo perdido a nivel institucional.
And then, worst of all,
And Osasuna find themselves involved in a match-fixing case,
Oh,
which is still to be fully resolved.
and whilst multiple former club directors were sentenced to prison for their actions, the consequences extended to the club and fans.
They got
Firstly,
relegated.
off the pitch, where so much of what made the club special was taken off of them.
El campo es del gobierno de Navarra. Tajonar es del gobierno de Navarra.
Then on the pitch, where with a threadbare squad made up of their meagre finances, Osasuna struggled to compete, eventually getting relegated down to the second division for the first time in a decade and a half.
Oh, man.
It was tough, you know.
And up against so much, even the tough fighting Navarrans admit they struggled to cope.
Sí, sobre todo porque fue también demasiado cruel.
But things were so bad that even the second division was a struggle for Osasuna. And on the final day of the 2015 season, the club found itself mired in the relegation zone to go down to Segunda B, Spain's third division, infamously known as the Well.
Because it's very easy to fall in, it's not so easy to come back out again.
You see, Segunda B isn't your average third division.
Well, it's theoretically the third tier, but does it count as a third tier if there are 4 divisions within it? So it's the third tier, it's the fourth tier, it's the fifth tier, and it's the sixth tier as well.
And whilst in the second division, there's still some TV money to help pay your debts. When it comes to Spain's third division,
What you can earn is absolutely sod all.
put simply, in their financial state, Osasuna's need to stay up was existential.
Bajar una categoría más de segunda, bajar a la tercera categoría, hubiese supuesto el fin de Osasuna porque no podría afrontar esas deudas.
And
Yeah,
so,
wouldn't be able to pay for it.
Osasuna's existence came down to their final matchday result.
El partido más importante de la historia de Osasuna.
The situation to survive was simple. Osasuna were playing away at already relegated minnows Sabadell.
We're talking about a small club with a tiny ground.
That word Sabadell, when I say it, everyone gets goosebumps.
Yeah.
To survive, Osasuna just needed a draw.
We knew that it was going to be a nightmare. I knew it was going to be a nightmare.
And nightmare it was, immediately.
En el minuto 17 perdíamos 2-0.
Con 2-0 perdiendo, yo ya pensaba que ya no había nada que hacer.
And as the score remained the same deep into the second half, hope began to fade.
Buah, pues que se acababa todo ya. sí, muy mal, sí.
No podía moverme, ¿sabes? Porque había sido tanta tensión y luego la decepción ya de que se había acabado, que no había nada que hacer.
But then, in the 77th minute,
I'll let it play out, but I got a
lifeline,
thought.
as Captain David Garcia, another Tajona product,
David?
Tierra, got one back.
Aquello fue pues como estar en medio del mar y que de repente aparece un barco.
But Osasuna still needed another goal, and with the match now entering extra time, it was now or never.
Pasó pues que en el último minuto estábamos así.
Porque que no
Hearts in
quedaba
your
nada,
throat,
quedaban 2
man.
minutos.
Luego metió en el último minuto en la última jugada de córner.
And then it was like, oh shit, we can do it, no? And at the end it was like, boom! That goal, and we all got pressed.
Llorar, emoción, acordarme de mis hijos, de mi padre, de mi abuelo.
Salí a la terraza, casi me tiro por la terraza.
Y cuando empatamos a 2, en realidad me quedé quieto, me quedé así en la televisión.
Se salvó Osasuna pues en el último minuto y por eso es tan mítico. Si llega a bajar ese día ya no estamos aquí.
Yep, makes sense.
And from that match in Sabadell, a line in the sand was drawn.
Oh,
so what you get
that's
with
sick.
Sabadell is a turning point, but a turning point from having looked into the abyss.
Donde todo pudo acabar y todo empezó.
Sí.
Ese es nuestro sentimiento.
You see, Osasuna may have secured their safety in the second division for the time being, but the club had realised it needed wholesale changes to avoid another chance of falling down to that third division well.
We need to sort this out economically and institutionally and structurally.
I bet you the
But
people
this
are going to come
wasn't just
together.
the case of getting the club back to where they once were on the pitch.
Because actually on the pitch is a relatively minor part of this.
This was about getting the club back to where it was off it, reflecting the values of the people and region it was meant to represent.
The position that Osasuna had found themselves in isn't something they feel proud of.
And as we know in Navarre,
Honour, your personal honour, is really, really big.
Consistently we go back to this idea of pride, this idea of earning what you are.
Porque Osasuna es otra cosa. Somos modestos, somos humildes.
And so that kind of case, which would damage any club, I think does even more damage to a club like this one. But just as importantly, I think there's a kind of a morality tale here. You get, if you like, the beginning of Osasuna allow themselves to clean the slate, start with the essence of what they are, rather than their recent history. Start with what we are and always have been.
Digamos que volvían a...
I had a thought. Oh man, what was I gonna say? Well, never mind. I don't remember what I was gonna say.
What we are and always have been.
Digamos que volvían a hacer.
And what is our identity? It's that, it's honesty, it's sacrifice, it's earning it, it's hard work, it's de la tierra, it's of the land.
and the person who stepped up to help couldn't have been more of the land. As local lawyer, Luis Sabalza, a former fan liaison, took the job no one wanted and fronted the sinking ship, where often he paid the bills by maxing out his own credit cards and convincing former players and local businessmen to chip in.
It's that simple. They had to be. They had to exist.
And then, miraculously, a side made up of players, De La Tierra, led by a coach, De La Tierra, made a late run and got promoted through the playoffs, back to La Liga.
I thought that I could never leave that again. To be honest.
But it's what the club prioritised when it returned to the top tier that really showed Osasuna was back to representing what the region stood for.
Se tuvo paciencia a nivel de club y a nivel deportivo.
You see, the reward for being a club in Spain's top tier is a rather hefty paycheck that goes into the tens of millions.
Right.
But instead of dedicating that money to signings, like most promoted clubs do, upper management at Osasuna put it all into paying off the debts they owed.
Good.
We cannot run the risk of cutting corners. We cannot allow ourselves to be in that position again.
Que disfrutemos de este momento, pero que tengamos los pies en el suelo.
Because of Sabadell. Because that was the moment when we stared into the abyss. We know what's down there. We ain't going back there again.
And though the move helped Osasuna secure financial safety, the lack of signings meant Osasuna went straight back down to the second division.
But they paid their debts
However,
off.
It's down there where Osasuna appointed the little-known Yagoba Arrasate as manager.
Yagoba.
El mejor entrenador que hemos tenido en muchos años. Ha sabido sacar a cada uno lo que hace bien en el campo.
¿Sí?
Y ha unido un equipo, que es lo que es el fútbol, un equipo.
Everybody loves Arrasate because Arrasate is a normal guy.
¿De dónde sois? Yo de Barcelona, Manchester y Australia.
This is a guy, strictly speaking, still a teacher on leave.
What do you mean he's strictly on leave? What is that?
He's a qualified teacher who's strictly, this is his side job, right?
And whilst it may be his side job, he didn't treat it as such.
Good.
Instantly taking Osasuna back up to La Liga, where he endeared himself to fans, not for the success on the pitch, but his Navarran way of being off it.
He's honest, he's direct, he's sincere about everything. He has no pretensions whatsoever.
And so when the team hit an inevitable rocky patch,
he went on a 13-game run without winning.
The same honest Navarran approach was reciprocated to Iago.
There's that viral press conference where the sporting director came out and said something like,
El barco lo pilota el capitán, que es Yagoba, el teniente es Bichor, y el barco llegará a puerto o no, pero con el mismo capitán. Y si nos hundimos todos, y si no, pues llegaremos todos a puerto.
Respect that, man. You gotta stick by each other. Yep.
Ha demostrado lo que es el espíritu Osasuna.
Es el alma de este equipo.
And he himself says it. A different club and in a different environment with a different sporting director and a different set of fans, he would have been sacked.
100%.
And Arrasate has repaid that faith with Razmir football, 5 straight years in the top tier, and of course, that place as one of the final 4 teams left in the 2023 Copa del Rey semi-finals, where, thanks to a last-minute goal from another Tajona product, De La Tierra, Osasuna then became one of the final 2 teams left in the cup, qualifying for the final against Real Madrid in Seville. And so, as the club prepared for only their second ever final, in what the Rojillos were hoping would finally be their first ever moment at winning something, Copa90 and I headed to Navarre for another once-in-a-lifetime moment.
Oh, I hope that's what happens. Please, please, please
here we
don't.
are in Pamplona, Navarre, and all I can say, it is absolutely stunning. It is so lush, it is so quaint, it is just so pleasant Pamplona. But as seemingly pleasant as this place is, there is a more fierce side, we've been told. So to find out more, first and foremost, we're heading to a boxing gym to speak to a man who's dedicated the last 40 years of his life to fostering the fighting spirit of the Navarran people.
40 years.
Sí, somos muy luchadores, muy luchadores, para todo. O sea, un objetivo, el Burubat, y vamos ahí.
Jose's words weren't just empty claims, as the results from Spain's recent national kickboxing tournament proved.
Y hemos ido con un equipo que ha sido todo de este club y hemos sacado 5 oros. 5 finales hemos hecho y hemos ganado 5 oros.
That's impressive.
Todo de Navarra?
Sí.
But it wasn't just kickboxing trainers who exemplified just how much Navarrans revere the fighting character, as I learnt speaking to Osasuna supporter Dan.
You've named your son after a fighter?
Kerman, yeah, there's a boxing fighter here from the Basque country, Kerman de Jarraga. He was a real fighter. He put all his heart on the ring, and I was going to choose a name for my kid.
And the subject of fighting was prescient everywhere we went, no more so than at Osasuna's last league match before the final.
Somos gente luchadora, somos pocos, pero no nos creemos menos que nadie.
Osasuna no le pides técnica como Madrid o Barcelona,
Right.
pero fuerza y luchar, pelear. Como dice la canción, el 11 de Osasuna, valiente y luchador.
Yet for all their talk, the tough hostile atmosphere Osasuna was famous for was nowhere to be found. The reason being, their opponent was Basque club Real Sociedad, meaning pre-match hardly felt like a Tuesday night at Stoke. And that friendly fraternal atmosphere continued inside the stadium, where fans of both clubs sat side by side, surrounded by Basque flags.
Because at the end of the day...
Meanwhile, on the pitch, the club paraded out the former players from the 2005 season, the last and only other Osasuna squad to have ever made it to a cup final.
Yeah.
And whilst that squad may not have won it, the reception they received showed how big a deal just making the Copa del Rey final was to this club.
Yep.
And so as the game came to an end with Osasuna 2-0 down, no one in the crowd seemed to be bothered by the result, as everyone's focus was on the far bigger match the following weekend. Hence why right after the game, that 05 squad joined the current squad in the post-match huddle, whilst fans either chanted about their cup final destination or chanted alongside Real Sociedad fans about their cup final opponents.
Wow, man.
But we still had a week ahead of us until the big cup final in Seville. And having learned Osasuna wasn't just a club for Pamplona Iruña, but a club for all of Navarre.
Wait, so I'm so sorry. I think I just misunderstood what they meant by that. Wait, was this the second leg? I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see what that score was again.
Down, no one in the crowd seemed to be bothered by the...
Okay, so it must have been an aggregate because they must have won their first leg. That's probably what happened, right? All right.
Osasuna wasn't just a club for Pamplona Iruña, but a club for all of Navarre. We decided to use the week we had to hit the road and get an understanding of the entire region.
Yep.
From the dry, hot, arid south, where it couldn't have felt more Spanish.
You've got some fencing,
in the colours of the Spanish flag. I don't know if I'm reading into it too much, but we are in the southern part of Navarre now.
To the wet green north, where it felt anything but.
Amongst this incredible lush green
Look
forest,
at that, man.
next to tranquil rivers, we've found this cave/grotto where lies arguably Basque mythology's most legendary figure, the Basque hound.
And then there were the places where the two Navarras met.
We've found this graffiti, which I think perhaps best explains the complex situation of Navarran identity. You've got this graffiti, which I believe is initially saying Gora, Nafarroa, Euskalduna, which is essentially, give or take, long live Basque Navarra. But, but the Basque bit has been crossed out by someone who evidently doesn't agree, as has the Gora Viva, and replaced by Puta. I don't have to tell you what that means. But then someone else has come back, crossed out Puta, brought back Gora, and then they've added this symbol at the end, which I believe is a symbol of Basque language.
But whilst Navarra's cultural identity may have been conflicting, the region's allegiance to a football club wasn't. As whether in the mountainous north or the cowboy south, it was evident there was only one club for Navarra.
Some say it's Spanish, some say it's Basque, but the one thing that we've noticed in this place is despite this contrasting argument or feeling, everyone is Osasuna. There are flags and banners everywhere. Many people are walking around in their kits, and it just goes to show the power of this very unique football club in this very unique part of the world.
I love this
And
so
on the eve of
much,
the final,
man.
we returned back to Pamplona, Iruña, where the entire city had gone Osasuna mad, covering the town in red, blue and white on every corner and everything. Much of it the work of one crew of painters who had been commissioned by nearly every small business in town to show their support.
Bueno, pues la idea es animar lo que es la ciudad. Y Pamplona, pues lamentablemente no llega a tantas finales. Y esto es al ser una ocasión tan especial, pues, bueno, la ciudad lo vive y lo disfruta para eso.
From there, I went to meet Osasuna supporter Enyalt, who was keen to stress how this game was actually bigger than their last and only other final, due to the opponents they were facing.
Right, Real Madrid, yep.
Irurogeita mar edo larogeiko hamarkadatik, Real Madrid izan dela, ez dakit, hemen gehien gorrotatzen dugun taldea edo.
But this was hardly news, as Osasuna's anti-Madrid sentiment was something we had come across all week.
En Osasuna puedes encontrar a los osasunistas o a los aficionados más antimadridistas.
¿Por qué?
Porque es justamente
They're
lo antagónico a nosotros.
Oh,
man. As I say, of the embodiment of kind of all the things they're not.
Ellos son los blancos, nosotros somos el negro.
The Galacticos, they're pampered.
Ellos son los grandes,
I mean,
ellos son los
wrong.
pequeños.
They're very technically brilliant. They're looked
Ain't
after.
wrong.
They're very well paid.
Ellos son los mejores equipos del mundo. Nosotros somos los peores.
And also, you know, you've got a socio-political element to this as well.
I was wondering about that.
Azken finean izan da, bueno, Espainiako taldea edo, gobernuaren taldea esango nuke edo goiko jendearen taldea.
That idea of Real Madrid is, if you like, the expression of power, the expression of the Spanish state, the expression of money, the expression of all of those things that we think we're not.
Ellos son el cielo, nosotros la tierra.
And Osasuna's anti-Madrista feeling went back decades, as Enyalt was keen to prove.
Bai, adibidez, bueno, hau adibide polit bat da eta hor asko ikusten da aipatu dizudana, ez? Orain dela 40 urte, bueno, txerri bat sartu zuten, bizirik sadarren, kamiseta txuri batekin, Real Madrideko kamisetarekin, eta Juanitok eramaten zuen 7 zenbakiarekin, ez?
And it was that anti-Madrista sentiment that attracted my final interview subject to the club in the first place, as Nacho, born and raised in Barcelona, only ever came to watch an Osasuna match due to the words of his FC Barcelona fanatic father.
So he hates Real Madrid, and he told me there is one only team in Spain, which is not really Spain, that you have to be friend of, which is Osasuna, because Osasuna, they are even more anti-Madridistas than us, FC
That makes
Barcelona
sense.
fans.
Yep,
And then,
that makes
just as the
sense.
sun was setting on the eve of the match, we came across 80-year-old fanatic Carlos, who, despite not being able to travel to Seville due to health reasons, summed up the occasion fittingly.
Después de haber eliminado, como nos eliminó al Betis, al Sevilla, al Bilbao de la Copa del Rey, o sea, después de 18 años, es un regalo precioso, es como si dejó que la lotería.
It's better than winning the lottery. I feel that. Oh man, I hope they win here.
All right, well, I'm on the final, as you can see.
This is before Mbappe joined Real Madrid, right?
Day to dream, according to the Diario de Navarre. Sorry about my voice, it may be a bit patchy. I've had quite a few too many patcharons. Open one page and the first thing they're talking about is the last and only ever final they've been in before, 2005, and the man who scored it, John Aloisi, who just so happens to be a hero of mine as an Australian. I happen to know John through, I guess, the Aussie football world these days, and I figured who better to speak to start this historic day. All right, Johnny, how you going? For people who don't understand, how rare is this for Osasuna fans?
Well, you think the club's 100 years old, and we've only reached the Spanish Cup final once, and that was 2005. So I came on when we were 1-0 down and equalised, and we went into extra time, we ended up losing 2-1. I've been back a couple of times, they still remember the goal, and they talk about it as the highlight of their life.
That's crazy, man.
It would be the highlight of all the people Pamplona's lives.
Maybe it's just me, but I'm quite an existential person. I'm always thinking about the passage of time. And you know, for these fans, the only ever time they've made this final, it was 18 years ago. And so all I keep thinking about is, what does that do to you on a morning like this?
Like, how stressed are you? That is a beautiful church.
It's just so not guaranteed in the world of modern football that a club like Osasuna gets to make finals, gets to win anything, because football has become so unfair. How do you actually enjoy it when you know, like, this is it, when you know this really isn't something that's just going to happen next year, the year after that, or the decade after that?
Right.
Football for me, and as Osasuna has proved, it truly isn't about winning. But every now and then, it is important that you've got the chance to at least dream of obtaining it.
Experience it once,
every
right?
Single fan of Osasuna, whether they're in a dry, dusty town in the south, whether they're in a lush, green Basque village in the north, or whether they're in Seville, they create moments, they soak this up, and they set another marker in time to remember in their life. Wow, that once-in-a-lifetime moment, I lived that to the fullest.
And from the moment we went outside,
here we go.
That's all we saw Navarrans doing. Where, despite the game kicking off at 10 p.m, every street, every lane, and every plaza of the capital was rocking from the morning.
Wait, damn, he said 10
So while
p.m.
some of us stayed in Navarre to document the local flares and festivities, I flew out to Seville to be amongst the 30,000 Rojillos who were lucky enough to get tickets to the match. Where upon landing, it was evident Osasuna fans had turned Seville into Little Navarre. Their wine, their costumes, their food, and of course their celebrations. But my priority was to find Chiqui, a particularly passionate Osasuna fan I had come across earlier in the week.
Yo soy socio desde los 3 años. Soy osasunista.
How old is he now?
Chiqui,
¿qué tal?
¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien.
Nervioso?
Mucho.
Chiqui had gone to great lengths to fly down his children for the final, and within minutes of speaking to them, it was understandable why.
How much does your dad talk about the final?
Since the final.
Since the final. Yeah, like how many times have you heard about Aloisi, about the Calderon, about that game?
Almost every day.
Million times a day.
What did he tell you?
That it was something that we have to live to understand. And
He's
now,
not wrong.
In 2 hours, we're going to live it. So.
Yep.
And so as the game got closer and the Rojillos' excitement got bigger, I couldn't help thinking about a statement Real Madrid had put out earlier that week, where the club had announced that even if they won the trophy, they wouldn't even bother with a parade. A contrast summed up perfectly by Chiqui's children.
If we win, I'm pretty sure we're going to celebrate even more than the Real Madrid supporters.
Why?
Because we're not used to it.
For them, it's just another final. For us, it's the final.
Right.
And so as one of our crew set up in Pamplona Iruña's central plaza,
Look at
another one
that.
of the city's bars and streets, whilst I headed into the stadium with my own camera, where I came across my mate Chiqui, as well as a reception to Spain's national anthem that couldn't have been more Navarran.
Oh, they're not a fan of it at all. Wow, they really don't consider themselves part of it, huh? They're truly just the Basque country. Oh God. Oh, they're gonna lose, aren't they?
Just for people to understand,
This music's too depressing.
how different are these two's relationship with winning and success?
It's a very
it's Real
simple way
Madrid.
of doing this. Osasuna have never won anything. Real Madrid, I think the last time I looked, I think we're on 99 trophies in the history.
Damn, that's a lot of
The
trophies.
budgetary difference is enormous. The historic difference is enormous. The power difference is enormous. We're talking about a second ever Copa del Rey final for Osasuna against Real Madrid. And I'm going to admit this now. A minute ago, I forgot how many European Cups they'd won.
Rodrigo.
So I believe we'll find it's 13 or is it 14? Is it 14?
Yeah.
Real Madrid.
This whole show is about making people learn about new clubs and new cultures and how football is going one way. The same teams are winning more and more.
Modern football, yeah.
Football makes it increasingly difficult for other clubs, apart from the really big, the super clubs, to compete.
Yep, that's what a lot of you have told me.
For a whole series of reasons.
So they always get the best players.
Because the stockpiling of talent done by huge clubs is ever greater.
They have 20, 50 times more budget.
And that's actually a gap that's reduced over the years.
It's not fair, you know, the fight is not fair.
That's why you got to keep fighting.
That said, I have to back away from this a little bit, because that doesn't mean it's okay not to win. It definitely doesn't mean it's okay not to compete. Osasuna will compete. I don't know if they win, but they compete.
God, I hope they win,
will
dude.
Fight. You know, we're not going to let anyone intimidate us. In fact, we're the ones that do the intimidating. All of those qualities that we've been talking about, they won't surrender. They won't give up. They won't back down.
I'm nervous, dude.
They won't think, oh, it's Real Madrid. They'll think, it's Real Madrid. Let's have them.
Dude. Oh man, this is making me nervous, bro.
How do I put this politely? There's nothing soft about Osasuna.
And this was made clear to us right after their equaliser. Where from the stands to the streets to the plazas,
Sheesh,
the Rios
man.
proved no one celebrated harder than them when it comes to scoring in the cup final. Summed up by the ultra section right behind the goal, where amongst the chaotic scenes of limbs and jubilation, a fire broke out, a fence was broken, and one supporter celebrated so hard he broke his leg and had to be stretched out of the ground. But just as Osasuna thought they had their opponents on the ropes,
Yep, here
Real
we go.
Madrid's 780 million euro squad reminded the Rojillos what you're up against when you take on modern football's super clubs. And despite a valiant attempt to equalise again, Madrid kept their lead and went on to win their 20th Copa del Rey, whilst Osasuna went home, still in search of their first.
So Madrid win. In a way, it doesn't matter, because the achievement is huge getting there. These guys got to a final. Only one lot of guys ever got there before. And 6 days ago, you were out on the picture of them celebrating them, because they're the best thing that's ever happened here. And it's not just that, of course, it's where they've come from. It's everything they've been through. It's the awareness of the position they've been in and the reconstruction of this club and the reconnection with its essence. I would personally say that Osasuna have already won by being in this final, in terms of what it means for them, in terms of the significance of it, in terms of the achievement of having got there, in terms of the fact that this will always be special for them.
To be continued, always. En Navarra decimos siempre para adelante, siempre adelante, siempre para adelante, nunca para atrás, siempre para adelante.
We're talking about a final as a one-off occasion, but I think getting there and everything they've done does mean that Osasuna, I think, can look at themselves and think, we're the kind of club who could be back, because this place is special.
Wow, man, I was really hoping they would pull it off. Oh, man. Wow, dude. I think that might generally be my favorite. That generally might be my favorite Copa90 like documentary ever in terms of like learning more about the genuine culture, the historical side of things, all of that stuff, man. I mean, it's one thing to learn more about the club, the history of the club and stuff, but just seeing how this entire region, the people work with one another, support one another, support other clubs of different regions that they all consider to be Basque. Like, you don't see that too often in a lot of these different documentaries, you know? Do they even have a derby? Is there even like a genuine derby with this? Well, they probably consider it a derby with Real Madrid, so I'm gonna assume that's probably the case. Man, that actually makes that win today kind of just seem even more impactful. I wonder what it was like for a lot of the Osasuna fans today, beating Real Madrid. Like, I was watching the game a little bit, seeing the fans cheer. I mean, it seemed like normal things. I mean, everybody likes beating Real Madrid, right? Having seen this, that adds an extra layer, an extra oomph to all of this, you know? And it doesn't mean that there isn't a chance that they never can win something and go on their own tear. I mean, look at Bodo Glimt. We've seen now that underdogs do have the ability to make it in this world of super teams. To be honest, I never really thought about how bad super teams are kind of running a lot of these leagues. I mean, what was it? It was Bayern Munich that went on their, 11th trophy win in a row. You obviously got your Barca, Real Madrid, your Manchester Cities. You got all these big names, right? What do you guys think? Is there an underdog that you support, that you're rooting for, that isn't some like big name team? Even if you're already a fan of that big name team, it makes me think about like that San Andreu video, which I forgot to mention, by the way. His name escapes me, but he was throughout this entire video. I thought I recognized him. He's from the San Andrea video. You know how like there are a lot of San Andrea fans that also support Barcelona. I want to hear like what other like underdog teams do you guys support? Or are you all more strictly a very specific team, even if it is like a super team of sorts? This was lovely. Wow, I've officially put this region as a place I would just love to visit. When I go to places to be a tourist, I don't really care about, I would say I don't really care about seeing all the resorts and all the exhibits. Like I want to see all the, no, I do care about the exhibits. I don't care about seeing the dedicated tourist stuff. I want to learn more about like the culture, the people, talk to folks, you know? I think whenever I do make my inevitable European like trip, that's one of the things we're gonna do. We're gonna go out of my way to talk to people, learn more, and hopefully by then I will have a better understanding of different languages and stuff. That's one of my goals, man. I want to learn more about this stuff, see all the architecture, all the beauty. I mean, the northern and southern regions, one being a lush forest, one being a desert with a little bit of everything kind of in between. You don't see that often in Europe, and I never really thought about that. I can't believe that is, what did he say? That's the only desert in Europe? That's crazy, man. Beautiful, beautiful documentary as always. I gotta say, that is definitely in my top 3 all-time favorites from this damn channel. They know they can really make you feel something when it comes to learning about the different cultures within football. So thanks for watching. Shout out to Copa90 once again. Be sure to go show love to the original video, obviously, which I will leave a link for in the description down below. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe because we react to football content over here. I know I've been kind of slacking on videos, but I do have a little announcement that I want to post about that has been one of the main reasons why I've been so slow on different things. But we'll get into that when I do post that video. But again, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this reaction, hit that like button and sub if you're new. And as always, this has been Jay with another football reaction video. Catch you in the next one. Have a great day. Peace.